Now we need to go on to a man who essentially is sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's only one of him.
Yeah.
You know, because you only ever need one.
Yep.
It's Brian Dagul. Sup, Bri?
What an intro. I'm loving that one. I'll take it all goddamn day. How are you, boys?
Doing good, my man. Doing
Brian.
good. Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. The streak continues. The Spain remains. And now for the biggest test, and where it really needs to do is stuff against the filth. Against the filth in their own backyard.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I'm going to be there with you in Canada for that one, matey.
Exactly. I cannot wait, matey. I cannot wait. Well, let's talk about this game. I'm going to address this right now because I saw it in the comments after the game, and I can see now people are saying, I am not a Sun hater, people. Get this round your head, okay? What I said is to get him off. What would you rather? Would you rather he started and went off and it didn't work well when, again, people are talking? Or he's on the bench, ain't been able to be brought on when teams are tiring, do his thing and leave the pitch the way he has. Well, what do you know? He came off the bench, saw what was going wrong, and scored a tremendous hat-trick, and that smile is back. Yep. So it's worked. Sonny will be back. That's what we wanted to see. He's changed the narrative. Rather than coming off unhappy, he leaves the pitch happy. We are Tottenham Hotspur supporters that love Sun. We aren't Sun supporters that support Tottenham Hotspur. And there's the difference. There is the big difference. He came on, did what he had to in a tremendous, tremendous way. And he has to be applauded from that. And now we move on. We are Sun lovers that support Tottenham.
Yeah, Brian, I noticed you mentioned in the pump up earlier, it'd be better if, and you called it, you said it's better if Sun, Sun has a crap 60 minutes and comes off, or would you rather Sun have the last half an hour and get the goals that he did? So you did call it from the beginning, and it's kind of like, when Sun scored, how relieved were you?
Oh, mate, I think everyone was. Listen, I mean, he scored a tremendous goal against Leicester last season from a similar position in the other top corner, and now he's got the set. I mean, to have the confidence, one of the things that we kept saying was he kept taking too many touches because of his confidence issues. Well, this time he trusted himself, and boy, what a screamer. What an absolute screamer that was. And you could feel it within the ground and probably around the world, the relief that everyone felt, because it was not only a great finish from a great player or a world-class finish from a world-class player, but now that just wipes away his start from the season. He gave Jesus a 6-game head start to 3 goals, and he's done it in 14 minutes.
Everyone who comes on's got to say that exact same thing. I want everybody to know. If you're in the background,
do you know what? If anyone who doesn't say that,
yeah.
I'll judge them. I'll judge them. All right? So be warned, to those of you who are coming in, you got to say that.
Brian, I just want another quick question. Did you think the performance was a better response to what happened on Tuesday?
Do you know what? A lot of people have been mentioning it, and I'm a huge fan of the 3-5-2, and it changed everything. It changed everything, and for me, we have to do it against the filth, because every time we go there, we get overrun in midfield. We saw it with Nuno last season, and that was just absolutely horrific. I feel we have to do it against the filth in their own backyard. The performance in general, until the second half, again, it was a very dodgy first half performance with schoolboy defending on both sides. I mean, my friend Wayne Holland kept predicting, and he's a Leicester fan, every time we were going to score, every time those corners came in, goal, and he was right. They just cannot defend at all. But it was very, very schoolboy defending from us as well at the beginning. But the second half was a different tale, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Marlon's mentioned it. A couple of other people have mentioned it. That the key decision was bringing Basuma on.
Yep.
Was it? If we sort of drill into it, was it the fact that it was Basuma coming on, or was it the change to 3 in the midfield that was the key decision, or was it both? Was it the fact that we changed to 3 thing?
It's both, because as soon as he came on, you got no other option to go 3-5-2. But it just goes to show he tried 4-2-4 against Chelsea when we needed the goal, and then he went 3-5-2, and then it happened. We just seem a lot more balanced with that extra body in midfield to do the extra work. And it changed everything. I think the 3-5-2 is the way forward permanently. I know he'll go back to 3-4-3, but I'm a big fan of that 3-5-2 with the players we have. A real big fan.
Do you not think, just it was something that someone said earlier as well, if we went to 3-5-2, considering that we probably have one of the best front threes in the country, you know, and it probably not at the moment because they're not been on form, but actually, do you break the front three up just to accommodate the 3-5-2?
I think, Marlon, it all depends on the game, doesn't it?
Yep,
it depends.
course,
like like for instance, the Filth next week, we know how vital it is to win that midfield battle, because we previously, in all the years you look back at it, that's where we get done. We get done in midfield, and then they open the floodgates with us. And then there's other times where that 3-4-3 will benefit. Now, what we've got to do is we've got to think, Conte's got to think what's best for the team, not what's best for the player. That's what he's got to do. Keeping them happy is what he's got to do with his choice. But we've seen the flexibility with the players at our disposal. And the 3-5-2, you can see the change, like people have been saying. It completely changed the game. Son's goals, I mean, the first one, the second one, and even the run for that third one was spot on. But that 3-5-2 made a huge difference, and we can't get away from it.
I mean, Christian said it that he thinks that we'll start with a 3-4-3, and then if it becomes necessary, you know, change it, not necessarily to a 3-5-2, just change something. Is this a new approach that we're seeing at Spurs? Because, I mean, so many of our managers would start with a formation, just stick to it very rigidly. Yep. And I actually worry now that we're sort of calling Conte stubborn. But in actual fact, he's shown himself to be willing to make changes in game as and when needed. Yep. Should we be expecting Spurs' default formation to be 3-4-3? And for him to then deploy something else in a game if he feels he wants to change it? Should that really be where our expectations are when it comes to Conte?
Well, first of all, seeing that flexibility, as you said, Rez, is fantastic to see, because like I said, we've had managers that will just stick to it. They may change the personnel, but they won't change the system and hope for better things. So it's very good from Conte to show that he is flexible and he will adapt to whatever the game is. But again, we've got to look now, all eyes on the Filth. And I'd rather we go 3-5-2 and then you change it when we're winning than 3-4-3, overrunning midfield and then change it after a goal or two has been conceded. So it's good to see that he has got that flexibility and he will change it. And we've just got to hope that against the Filth, we turn up. And I really do hope it's that 3-5-2. But there's a lot of people talking about as well. What I wanted to talk about is Romero, obviously starting off the bench. He is our best central defender, without a shadow of a doubt. But let's be serious. Against Fulham, he was at fault for the goal Mitrovic scored. It was a weak tackle. Yes, he was on a yellow card. Against Sporting, he was woeful, as was everyone. I don't think he's recovered from that injury fully. Now he's got to go away with Argentina, where they will play him. So giving him the rest, just like we did for Son, will be very beneficial for us. Hopefully, if he comes back from Argentina with no injury scares or fresh injury scares and is raring to go. But he had to be rested. I mean, Sanchez's tackle, I mean, I don't even know. And I tried to defend Sanchez as well as I can. It was just pathetic.
Yeah, I'm the same, Brian. I couldn't defend him for that. It was
absolute needless tackle. I don't know what he was trying to do. But like Ariane said, last time he did it, we won 6-1 against United. And then here you go. But we now move on. Brendan Rodgers has got to get sacked, hasn't he? I mean, you can't justify it. He's got to be gone.
Well, this is it. I mean, is there any scenario in which Brendan Rodgers, having drawn 1, lost 6 in a row, is there any justification for keeping him on?
They haven't won a game, Rez. They've got 1 point.
No, I know. I said Drew won.
Drew won. Sorry,
yeah. Drew won, lost 6 in a row.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry, you didn't enunciate. I'm going to blame that on you, my friend. I'm only joking.
I speak English very proper.
Yeah, but he's got to be gone. I mean, I can't see him not being gone by tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But like we said, 6-2, joint top with Manchester City. The streak continues. Rez, you'll be with us at the Scotland Yard for the filth, where this shirt really, really more than ever
do its job.
has to do its thing. Has to do its thing.
Oh yes,
and hopefully it will. Hopefully it will.
We will see. We will see. We cannot wait. I know we've got to go through the completely pointless, utterly pointless international break now, because the season's not congested enough, apparently. You know, we need pointless friendlies in there as well, or whatever the hell they are this time round. So, yeah, we've got that to look forward to. Again, the hope is, I think, that we'll get through without injuries. That's pretty much what we can really hope for.
Exactly. You've got a super chat in that this guy's been calling me out there from Sheehan saying, don't act like we support Son and not Spurs just because we didn't turn on him after 4 weeks. You lot were angry at Son. Let's not deflect, please. So I just want to answer this perfect to Sheehan. I'm not deflecting, my friends. When we said he needed to have a rest or whatever, you all went nuts. And I'm not saying Koreans, I mean loads of people all around the world went nuts. There are people, like I know a lot of people that supported Jose Mourinho and follow him wherever he goes. There are a few people that support Sonny because of his roots. I'm not saying it's you. I'm not saying it's everyone, but everyone is now going mad because, well, you see, Sonny's come back. He's come back. Well, yes, but we were right. Give him a rest. He comes on, changes the narrative, and scores a hat-trick. At the end of the day, we all support Tottenham Hotspur, whether you leave in, leave out, Son on the bench, Son starts. All everyone wants on this entire channel and around the world is a successful Tottenham Hotspur.
Correct.
And I don't care how we get that or what we do to get it. I want success. I want trophies. And however we have to do it is how we do it.
I think it boils down to the maxim, the club comes first.
Yep.
Okay. If, you know, let's say, for instance, Sonny has something occurs in which he can't play at the level that he had before. That's not what I hope happens. As I've said before, I have nothing but affection and love for Son. He's my favourite Spurs player. He is Mr. Tottenham for me. But if that happens and it is to the club's advantage for him not to play, ultimately that has to come first.
Yep.
You know, that's why we support the club. We don't support, as you said, Brian, we're not Son supporters who happen to follow Spurs. We are Spurs supporters who happen to have Son playing for us. What is best for the club comes first.
Exactly. That's it. And like I said, whether it be if Son gets Son, Kane needs to be dropped occasionally. And Kane, the only difference with Kane this season, because he has been woeful. He has been woeful, but
he's scored
goals.
Yeah.
He has scored goals.
I've said time and time again that I live for the day when Kane is actually substituted before 90 minutes is done.
Yeah.
Because how can you keep playing the same player for 90 minutes every bloody game of the season?
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, and yet his performance today was not anything special.
The thing I want to add on to that, just to add to this, is when you look at it, who are the big teams that win trophies all the time? Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. What do? Rotate.
Yeah.
What have we not had the luxury of doing? Rotating. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're right. Actually, this is probably the first time in a very long time we can look at the bench. Yes, Conte might not be completely pleased with it, but at the same time, there are players on the bench that can come in and do a job. And we saw Richarlison do that in the Champions League in the first game. You know, we didn't have that luxury last year. We've never had that luxury. So actually, seeing Basuma come on today and make a change, you know, we've got to start using that bench. And that's the only thing that I'd have against Conte this season. He just hasn't used it enough. And the players are there, but probably not to the extent that he wants, but he's got to use it because it's been very key in a lot of games we've played this year.
An interesting point for people to consider. Man City played 60 plus games last season. Of those 60 plus games, Kevin De Bruyne, who is undeniably world class, only played a little over half of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
he played the most. He played 31. He was the only
30.
player to play over 30 games
Yeah.
for them last year.
Okay, but still only about half of those games. Yeah, so that's the key here. Guardiola, rightly or wrongly, we're not going to judge his actual decision making, but he made the decision that he didn't need to play De Bruyne every game. He didn't need to think that a player is untouchable or undroppable. The idea that you can't drop a player, be it briefly, be it for a long period of time, is something that we have to get our minds out of. But far beyond all that, we still have to remember that if you support the club first, it is what is best for the club. I never said that dropping Son was something that we had to do. I'm just saying it's something that we could consider to get him back to where he was for the benefit of the club. And that's the key, I think.
And the only thing I'll add to that Man City part, yes, I know Kevin De Bruyne only played that amount of games, but a lot of people, well, I'm one of those people saying, actually, because he rotates too much, it costs them the bigger trophies.
Yeah, maybe.
So there's a happy medium to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course
and I
there
think
is.
at the moment with Spurs, this is the first time in, I can't even remember how long, since we've actually can look at players, Conte can look behind them and go, let me bring on Basuma. Let me bring on Richarlison. The fact that Richarlison played today, we wouldn't have been able to do that last season. And that was only, a few months back. So we have to look at the positives here and go, the squad is better and more equipped than we were last season. But at the same...
To an extent.
To an extent. But yeah, there are going to be certain players that are going to play more. But at the end of the day, we probably used Son way too much last season. And that's why the bad start to this season. Kane's probably in the same boat. But, unfortunately for Son... Kane's been scoring, so it's a different. You got to look at things differently. If Kane keeps playing like this, I'm going to tell you this now. Son start scoring. People are going to be asking, actually, Kane needs a rest.
Yeah,
and Kane will be next.
Yeah,
exactly.
And rightly so.
And I've got to say, you got people in the chat now still saying Sonny should be sold to Liverpool. Sonny should be sold. No one wants Sonny sold. No. I don't want Sonny sold. I would go absolutely stark, raving mental if Sonny got sold.
I don't know what would be worse, Conte leaving or Son being sold.
Yeah. Well, either way, it would end up with me being on a plane to London. So, what can I say? So we'd have to wait and see. Now, like I said, we roll onto the filth. All this Son nonsense needs to stop. Because every single person that's
Oh, he's frozen here.
He's gone frozen. He's still moving on my... Oh, no, that's it. I'm catching up. I've caught up.
But yeah,
we lost Brian.
Yeah. There was a super chat there, I think.
That was the one I read, I think. Yeah. That was from CN, yeah. That was the one that I read, yeah. Oh, no, that's the new one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the super chat from Cian was, stop it, guys. No one is saying play Son to the detriment of the club. It was the attitude towards him after 4 weeks. Let's not twist my words, please. Cian, sorry, 1 second, Brian. Before we continue, this is an argument that is pointless. Okay, it really is, because we're not the ones making the decisions. We're not even the ones able to influence the decisions. Conte does not go through social media and say, whoa, this number of people are saying drop Son, I better do that.
No, I think Sim and Ben might have might be able to have an influence.
But obviously in an Italian accent. The point here is that everything that Spurs fans talk about is speculation. Okay? It's discussing what ifs, it's discussing about what might we do here, what could happen there, what is the effect of doing this, but none of it is knowledge, it's speculation, okay? And so the idea that anyone is right or wrong is foolish. So not wanting to go in on you specifically, but this idea that you can win an argument, Cian, and that we're wrong. That's your opinion, but you have no evidence for it. Like we have no evidence that you're wrong. It's just a belief, yeah? Ultimately, we come back to the point. We are all Spurs fans. We all want what's best for the club. Some of us think it is this way. Some of us think it is that way. But what unites us is far greater than what divides us. Let's not make this so contentious. Is that something
And
that
that
we
was
can
a
agree on?
political party broadcast for the Tottenham Hotspur family.
yeah.
Lads, well,
I'm glad you said that, Brian.
well done, sir. Give that man a job as spokesman for Tottenham.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank
good,
you.
all good. Listen, guys, get on with the show. Enjoy it. Like I said, we're going to this international break undefeated. Son is now back and staked his claim and shown that what he is. Let's all carry on this support for Tottenham Hotspur, especially when we roll onto the North London derby against the Filth. Marlon, always a pleasure. Rez, I'll see you for it in Toronto. And everyone in the chat, have a wicked weekend. And as always, Levy out.
Big up to you, Brian. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you, Brian.